Hello everyone, and welcome to Galaxy 89 Cars. Today, thanks to the team at Platts Motor Company, I'm bringing you an in-depth exterior and interior tour and exhaust video of a 2019 Ford Fiesta ST-3. This car, finished in the launch colour Ford Performance Blue, is currently for sale at the time of publishing, so feel free to use the direct link in the video description for more information. The new Fiesta joins a brand-wide exterior and interior design language overhaul. The new cars are all meant to be more economical, more aesthetically pleasing inside and out, and now come with higher quality materials. The ST-3 in particular appears to be far more mature than before, and reflects the brand-wide inclusion of high grade materials and finishes, but nonetheless, it still holds onto its key hot hatch characteristics that we will explore throughout the video. It comes in with a total length of 4,068mm, up 93mm on the previous ST-3, 1,735mm wide, 1,469mm high, down 26mm, and has a curb weight of 1,262 kilograms in this 3-door variant, and 1,283 kilograms in the 5-door version. It is also 14% more rigid than a standard Fiesta, thanks to new bracing found under the car. Before we can take a look at the new powertrain, we must first pull the latch on the passenger's side. Moving around to the front, we can then slide the catch underneath to the left and raise the bonnet. The bonnet can then be supported on the hinging arm seen here that needs to be manually put in place. The new Fiesta loses a cylinder to the outgoing car, but delivers more power and more performance. It is powered by a front-mounted 1.5-litre, turbocharged 3-cylinder petrol engine that produces 197 brake horsepower, up 15 brake horsepower, and 290 Nm of torque, up 51 Nm. This output results in a 0 to 62 mph or 100 km/h time of 6.5 seconds, down 0.2 seconds, and a top speed of 144 mph, up by 5 mph. The output and performance figures here were used in comparison to the previous ST-3, not the special ST-200, which has more comparable figures. This engine also features cylinder deactivation technology for increased efficiency, with this system being an apparent world first for a 3-cylinder engine. The supporting arm can then be manually released and secured below. This ST-3 variant of the ST comes with these 18-inch ST 5-spoke machine-finished alloy wheels front and back. Braking comes from enlarged discs at each corner. Stability is provided by Tenneco Sport front dampers and a pack known as the ST Performance Sport, which includes what Ford call torque vectoring springs fitted to the rear. These are curved and wound into their fittings in a way that helps to enhance rear lateral stability. There is also a vectoring system applied to the front wheels, which uses brake steer for tighter cornering. Lastly, Ford offer an optional ST Performance pack that includes a Quaife limited slip differential, performance shift lights and launch control. Now we've finished the model overview, we can start the exterior in-depth tour from front to back. The front is a lot softer than the previous ST-3. Starting at the bottom, there's a new continuous lip that runs around the front. The new front grille above loses its horizontal lines in favour of this hexagonal mesh. Laterally, the intersecting wing sections have been removed and replaced by these matte grey panels. The fog lights have been completely redesigned and are now flatter and more angular. The general shape of the grille above has been retained, now with softer lines. It is also smaller but with a larger grille. The main lights on either side have lost their angular rear and now come with a new angular daytime running light strip at the front. In addition to the standard option seen here, there's also an optional full LED and tinted option. Moving up, the bonnet is significantly more smooth, losing its 2 central dynamic lines in favour of just 1 on each side. Moving back, the windscreen appears more upright and longer than before, with 2 wipers below. We can now move to the lateral aspect of the ST-3. The front quarter windows are now more angular than before. The lower dynamic line is more prominent here, and the side skirt below is smoother. The raised section that was previously found just after the front wheel arches has now been removed. As a result of these changes, there's now a more purposeful gap between the door and the side skirt. Moving up, the power folding mirrors are now smaller, with a smaller integrated indicator. An optional blind spot assist system can be spec'd here. Moving back, the 3 lines to the rear of the handle signify the car's keyless entry system. Behind these and to the left, we find the car's fuel tank flap. The flap can be easily pulled up, with the fuel tank having a capacity of 42 litres, with the car returning a combined MPG of 40.4. Moving up, we find the optional and openable glass panoramic roof. Towards the rear of this, we find the new antenna that has been thickened, shortened, and moved here from the front in the previous ST-3. Behind this, we find the redesigned rooftop spoiler that's now shorter and no longer comes with its open sections. However, it does still come with a rear LED brake light strip. Below, the tinted rear window is now larger and comes with a single integrated wiper. The brake light complexes below are now presented horizontally and are significantly more slimline and refined. They come with a new staggered LED running light layout. Below this, we find the reversing camera. Conversely, the reflectors below are now vertical and wider than before. There's a thinner black grille area with a similar diffuser that comes with two subtle fins, one on either side. Here we find the new valve-controlled sports exhaust that also comes with an electronic sound enhancement system that plays exhaust audio into the cabin. Let's hear how it sounds, first in normal with the valves closed, and then in sport mode with it open. Now we've finished the exterior tour, we can move inside. The key comes with 3 buttons: unlock, lock, and to open the boot. Unsurprisingly, the handles and door pull out very easily. Ford have actively tried to improve the interior here with a more simplistic layout, less plastic, and an increased amount of premium products that we will explore in detail later in the video. We can now start the in-depth interior tour with the doors. The main panel is plastic once again, but now a lot simpler than before and lacks a speaker here. As we move forward, we find the new door release and lock controls. Below, there's a new leather pad against the door with a leather upholstered armrest. The new metal handle and electric mirror and window controls are ahead. Below, there's a new reflector, a much smaller storage area, and one of the 10 speakers from the optional B&O premium audio system. Even though there have been slight changes to the design, ingress and egress is still very straightforward. As we sweep along the new sill, we find Ford Performance under a protective sticker. Moving up, there's a small storage and access area, the exterior light and cruise control buttons, and finally, the first manually adjustable air vent. The new flat-bottomed, leather-upholstered steering wheel is far more angular than before. Now taking a closer look, the new button array to the left offers controls for cruise and audio controls. The horn is found centrally on a smaller airbag, and finally, to the right, we find driver trip and voice controls, with the ST logo now integrated onto the metal component below. With the key inside the car, we can now depress the engine start button to see the new screens begin their start sequences. The new instrument cluster is now one open screen. From left to right, rev gauge, new digital screen, engine temp and fuel level, and speedo. Looking at the new screen, the first menu is Trip A, where we find mileage, range, and MPG since reset. In settings, we can adjust general information, display, driver assistance such as the optional blind spot assist, general vehicle and my key settings. Phone connectivity for calls comes next, with audio settings following it for the AM, FM and DAB digital radio. It is also possible to connect devices via Bluetooth and USB. The navigation screen is next, with the default view being this compass. However, route guidance can be displayed here. Driver assistance is next, with launch control coming from the optional ST Performance pack that I mentioned earlier, but we can also find hill start and lane keeping assist here. Finally, there's a larger digital speed limit view. As mentioned before, this screen is accessed using the buttons to the right of the wheel. Moving up, the dash ahead is a lot more flat than before. It starts with a demist vent to the right, with the optional central B&O speaker, and ends with a second vent to the left. Below, we find the brand new touchscreen display. It has been enhanced to 8 inches here, thanks to the optional B&O premium audio system, with the recently updated ST-3 software, also found in the Focus RS. After the home screen, which is broken into 2, the first option menu we can navigate to is audio, where we can select AM, FM or DAB digital radio, or an external input via Bluetooth or USB. The next screen is for Bluetooth phone pairing for hands-free calling. The navigation screen comes next. It's not quite as responsive as some of the other screens I've tested recently, but it still responds well to spread, slide and pinch movements, and is undeniably a huge improvement on the previous system. The direct screen for Bluetooth connectivity comes next, and the option to download mobile apps such as Spotify, AccuWeather and Waze. In settings, we find the usual array of options: sound, clock, general, display vehicle, where the user can alter park pilot and camera functionality. The final display to view here is the new reversing camera with proximity sensors and directional lines. Around this screen, we find a new inlay design that is either meant to look like carbon fibre or is the real thing. Either way, it's an improvement on the minimal piano black that came before. Below the screen, we find a button array for volume, equalizer, track settings and radio tuner. Moving down, we find the hazard light button and dual air vents. Below this, we find another button array from right to left: temperature scroller, AC, recirculation, air direction, demist front, rear demist, fan speed scroller, passenger heated seat, heated windscreen, heated steering wheel, and driver heated seat. Below this, we find a small storage pot where the key can be stowed during driving. Behind, there's a 12-volt socket and the first USB input. Moving back, we find the gear stick for the 6-speed manual transmission. This area is once again surrounded in the carbon or carbon effect trim. Behind we find, from left to right, the drive mode selector, sport or normal, ESC off and the button for the car's start-stop system. Moving back, we find 2 cup holders which can be illuminated. To their right, a leather upholstered manual handbrake and a small storage area ahead. Between the seats is this small and much slimmer leather upholstered armrest. It can be opened by depressing a small catch at the front and then lifted up. Inside we find a dual level storage area. The removable lid can be taken out to reveal a deeper area with a single illuminated USB input. On either side are the new manually adjustable and heated Recaro partial leather sports seats with Alcantara inserts. The manual adjustment controls can be found to the sides. Now we finish in the front, we can move to the rear. To do this, we can easily pull the lever found here and roll the seat forward. In the rear, we find a bench consisting of 2 outer seats and a central occasional seat, all presented in the same leather and Alcantara layout as the front. Now sitting in the rear, we look forward to find the leather pocket at the rear of the front seats. The interior feels well padded and comfortable, and also light and spacious thanks to the dual sunroofs. These have sunshades that can be manually pulled out. Moving down, the side passengers have small lateral armrests, with speakers above and small storage areas below. Now we've finished the majority of features inside, we can move to the car's main storage space. The rear boot can be unlocked with a double click of the lowest button on the key and then manually opened. The boot offers a standard capacity of 311 litres, but with the rear seats laid flat, this is increased to 1,093 litres. Looking around the interior of the boot, there are two smaller storage areas off to the sides, as well as different places to secure items. The optional spare wheel can be found under the floor here, and in the front of the car, there is a passenger side glove compartment. Moving back inside briefly, we can look at the car's final few features. Moving back to the front sunroof can be opened and closed automatically, but the sunshade needs to be pulled across manually, in the same style as the rear. Looking forward, we find the leather upholstered sun visors with their illuminated vanity mirrors. Between these is the final control array, with integrated microphones for the hands-free system. The first button is for the retractable sunroof. Ahead of this is the button for the front reading lights. So that concludes my in-depth tour of this 2019 Ford Fiesta ST-3 that's currently for sale with Platts Motor Company. You can find all of their contact details in the description of the video. Please subscribe for the latest content, and until next time, thanks for watching.